Good afternoon, everyone. It is 12:02, and I would like to officially open up the meeting and ask the clerk to call the roll call at this time.
Each member is acknowledging that they are attending the meeting via Zoom and that they are located in Wayne County, Michigan, unless otherwise stated when I call your name. Unlike the last two meetings, what we usually do is we go in reverse order and end with the vice chair and chair. So now that we have a vice chair and chair, I'm going to start from the bottom. Member Winton. Right. Member Tinsley Smith.
Present.
Member Talley.
I'm here.
Member Starr.
Here.
Member Shield.
Here.
Member Randall. I see her on. Member Randall. Maybe she's on mute. I'll come back to her. Member Luckman. Present.
I'm sorry, Member Randall's here.
Thank you. Member Lanto.
Present.
Member Joyner. Member Hughes.
Here.
Thank you. Member Gator.
Present.
Member Garcia. Member English Barnhill. Member Douglas.
Present.
Member Dobb has requested an excuse. Member Crawford.
Present.
Member Cash.
Here.
Vice Chair Roberts.
Present.
And Chair Carter.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will you call the next item on the agenda, please?
We are moving on to item B, approval of the June 10th, 2021 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
And then Chair Carter, I think we just need a voice approval on that. Is that correct, Agneet?
Yes, so you would call for all in favor, all opposed, and any abstentions.
Okay. Can we have those who all say or in support to say yay, please?
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
And now those
Support.
that object, nay, please. Are there any abstentions?
All right, motion passes. And we are moving past item C, which is unfinished business, to item D1 under new business, which is member biographies.
All right. Myself and the vice chairs had a meeting and have had several conversations about the commission, and thought that because there's so many of us and some of us don't know the talents of others, that it may be a good idea to have short bios, just a paragraph or two, and so that we can share it with each other. So when we are coming across opportunities for the Women's Commission, then we can have an idea as to where we can start, so that we're not always on the fly trying to figure out how to respond to certain things that may be on the table.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, I just think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to learn a little bit more about each other. We don't have a lot of time in each of our commission meetings to take a deeper dive. And so Chair Carter and I thought if we were all able to share, some short biographies about ourselves, then one, it's a way for us to get to know each other better. And just to second what Chair Carter said about being able to have a better understanding of our interests, talents, and abilities. So any discussion on that? And I do just want to point out that we also had a brief meeting with Gagneet and Felicia, and I believe Pamela may be involved, and we just started to talk about how we were going to run meetings. And so as individuals raise their hand, Gagneet is going to write that down, and then to help facilitate discussion, she will call on members as their hands were raised. So any discussion? Okay.
We have one hand from member Starr.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out too that having a set of biographies is also a great way for promotion of the commission and the qualifications of the members. And also Member Luckman was tweeted about in the University of Michigan Dearborn Chancellor's office. And so I think those are great ways to promote what we're doing and to get many others to promote us. So it might be useful to include some of that background information in our biographies so that we can share that with other institutions and they could follow that, that example.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Wonderful. Go ahead, Vice Chair Roberts.
Okay, thank you. I think that I mean I can make a motion if we want, but I think we should set a deadline for it so that we can get these in. And Gagneet, are you okay with us submitting those to you and you collecting them and putting them into a document and then sending that out to everyone? Is that appropriate to ask of you to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what's the date today? Today is the 8th. Do we think a week is enough time?
We do have another hand from member
Sorry.
Starr.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm wondering if it would be helpful to create a Google form and have everyone complete this Google form, because there's some amount of demographic information we probably want that's common across everyone. And then we can leave it open for a more biographical sketch in the form. Also, you just, type in a long paragraph, but that top part, all of the background information, we probably want to make sure that we have that in a common format.
Is that something you'd be willing to volunteer to do? It sounds like you have a vision for it.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that for sure.
Okay.
Thanks for volunteering me there, Sarah.
You have another hand from member Randall.
I'm waiting to be recognized. I don't. Hello?
Go ahead, Member Randall. Proceed, please.
I was going to recommend that we do both a written bio as well as the Google form, because if you reduce, a biographical statement, you might miss something that you might find important. And I do see the importance of the Google form as well.
Okay.
We have another hand from Vice Chair Roberts.
I'm not sure why I'm not seeing the hands here.
Member Starr, as part of that Google form, can you just create a section at the bottom that allows for that free-flowing bio that people may want to write? So it's just in one document.
Sure. There would be a question and then a box that you type your answer into. You could even paste it in from a Word document, Word or whatever. There might be a character limit. We would just boost that up as high as it would go.
Okay. And when is that something that is reasonable for you to have that done by?
Would Monday be okay?
Sure. And then is everybody okay with having it done by the 19th then, giving everyone a week? Any objections to that? Gagny, do you-
Can I just request that we get some kind of a, not, I don't want to say reminder, but like a prompt, maybe the day before, just to make sure that we all have it submitted. Maybe before the day, you said next week, right?
Yeah, so I can raise my hand.
Go ahead, Vice Chair Roberts.
So if Mary is going to have the Google form completed by the 12th, we can send out a reminder on the 16th that the bios will be done the 19th. And Gagny, should we have a motion on this or are we good?
I don't know if it's necessary to have a motion. I do see that we have some members of Commission Council online. They could I would defer to them on that.
So this is, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. This is Felicia Johnson. You don't need a motion per se, but if you want to be formal, you can have a motion with regards to this. And since I have the floor and was called on, let me just add a few comments. I'm not familiar with Google Form, but if it's an account that you have to set up, please ensure that Gagnique has all the account information and the passwords. We need to make sure that there's consistency across the board, just in case we lose a member, that there's one place where all the information is stored. Also remind the group that you are subject to the Open Meetings Act and FOIA. So just be mindful of what you put out in the universe with regards to the information that you put within the form. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Are there any more comments or suggestions about this process? Can we just at least get a yay or nay vote on it then? Can all those in favor?
Sorry, Chair, we do have
Chair.
a hand from Vice Chair Roberts.
Go ahead, Vice Chair Roberts.
I'll just go ahead and make it formal. So I will make a motion that all members of the Wayne County Women's Commission will provide a bio, and that Commissioner Starr will provide an outline via Google Form by Monday, July 12th, and bios need to be submitted by July 19th. And then will be shared with the full body once they are consolidated.
A new form.
Support.
Diagnosis already.
Sorry, who was that supported?
Member Gator.
Thank you.
Okay, so can we take, at this point, can we still do a yay or nay? You want to do okay. All those in favor say yay to the motion of, as outlined, to submit the bios by the deadlines?
Yay. Yay.
Yay.
Are there any nays or abstentions?
Motion passes.
Awesome, yay.
Great. All right, moving back to that same agenda item regarding the member bios, I'll just know that we appreciate your cooperation on that, as it is imperative that we be able to communicate beyond the meetings. At this point, Madam Clerk, if you can move on to the next item.
We are moving on to item D2 under new business, discussion on the Women's Commission structure.
There have been several meetings off the record, but however, notes were taking several committees, the bylaws committee, as well as the chairs, vice chair, and myself met, and we just felt that we just wanted to try to get a get off to a good start, a good positive note where we're all in support of each other. Where at the end of the day, this is something that we all can be proud of. Now, the love for ourselves, as well as the women who we are representing, who are not seated here, they want us to do the work of this Women's Commission. And we must lead the commission in a direction that other women will be inspired and overjoyed to do the next work. When we have completed the 2-year term, we want to review a list of achievements that will remind us that we were here. Each of us has made a commitment to our commissioners to serve, and that I implore you that we must not take this opportunity slightly, as it is a representation of all of our leadership, well, all of us as leaders. We were selected or chosen ones by any number of women in our districts that we will be representing. They're depending on us to show up and to share the news about how to go beyond roadblocks and counteractions to access to their options that they may have in any category that we face as women. My mother taught my brothers to never leave a lady waiting. And I want us to kind of embrace that. And we want to do the same thing. We don't want to leave women out waiting when we have been empowered to make some deliverables. And I just want to say that's my heart to heart. And I think that a lot can be done with the talent we have on this team. Thank you very much.
We do have a hand from Vice Chair Roberts.
Thank you. I wanted to add to this because this is something that Chair Carter and I spent a lot of time talking about on Saturday. This is the first ever Wayne County Women's Commission. And at our last meeting, we hadn't had an election yet. And that first agenda was, created in good faith as a guidance and a structure of what should take place during that meeting. And I know it's important for us to get to work. And I applaud that we were able to come to a decision in terms of working on the impacts of COVID-19 on women and how we can support that recovery. And we have some information to share in moving forward on that. But I think it's really critically important that we come together to really work out the structure and process of this commission. Wayne County has not said, here is a cookie cutter plan of how you should run and operate the Michigan Women's Commission. And although Carmen or Chair Carter and I are in the positions of chair and vice chair, that doesn't mean that we have all of the answers. And we certainly don't want to be in these roles as a way of sort of dictating what this commission is going to do. That we really want everyone, because everyone is a leader and everyone has leadership qualities and skills and abilities and talents to bring to the table to make this commission successful. So I'm not exactly sure what the best approach is in terms of how we really figure out our best structure and rules of engagement so that we all know, what our roles are, how we can participate and how we can contribute. But I feel very passionately that we need to get this right. And we need to collectively create a very strong foundation and structure for this commission so that our work is guided and it's in an organized and efficient way. And the real mission and foundation of this commission is to lift women up throughout Wayne County. And I'm really hoping that we can lift each other up in this commission, and know that we might fumble through some things, right? As we're trying to like figure this out. And Chair Carter and I, again, we don't have all the answers. And so we need you, like we need everyone to be a part of making this a success. And I think we would like to open this up for discussion a little bit in terms of how we want to make that happen. We took a first step in having a committee and reviewing the bylaws, and we're gonna report out on that to you and provide some recommendations to you. And on the next agenda item, Chair Carter and I put some ideas together in terms of committees around the COVID-19 issue that we want to work on. But it really is merely a suggestion to start a thoughtful conversation of how we want to approach this. So without maybe we can just open it up and get some thoughts from the commission.
We have a hand from Member Tinsley Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. And first, I want to commend our chair and vice chair for the work that you guys have done, as well as the individuals that we're looking, to really get us a structure, right? What does it look like? How are we going to approach this? I think that committee approach is important. So there are a lot of different arms to the work that we can do. We've outlined 6 specific areas. And so is it just an idea or a recommendation to put out a doodle, or something to see where folks' interests lie, and then create those committees? Because you're absolutely correct. We all have, right, like a lot of things going on. And right now things are very high level and they're big picture. But I think it's important that we figure out where we can really fit into this puzzle to make that change that you both reference, right? Yes, a year from now, 6 months from now, we can't still be having these same conversations. We need some deliverables, we need some measurables, and those success metrics, right? What does that look like? So I would definitely vote for and put forth that we put forth some type of, like I said, doodle, or, just something where folks can kind of plug in their interest. Maybe we make these groups 2, 3, 5 individuals. We meet on off cycles and then come back and report out our findings, any research or recommendations that we have to move our efforts forward. I also think that it's important, maybe, we actually put together formal goals, right? Or, what are we looking to do for each of these committees? So then we know what area we're going in versus just being pie in the sky. So those are just some of my initial thoughts and recommendations.
Thank you, Member Tinsley Smith. Go ahead, Vice Chair Roberts. Your hand is up.
JB, am I next?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
I just want to make sure. So having the commission started when it did 2 months ago, we actually almost have like these extra months until January to like when the full term starts. So I'm not saying that we need to take August, September, October, November, December, 5 months to figure out the structure. But I strongly advocate that we take some time to really work on this. And as you can see from the agenda, I mean, we're talking about committee structure, we're talking about, our bylaws, and we're talking about using Robert's Rules of Order as, a guide to how we run meetings and, how we make decisions. But I guess I just wanted to, again, say, I don't know if we need to get a handful of women together on a committee to put some ideas together. I don't know if folks feel like we're moving in the right direction. We should just continue moving in that direction. I'm going to share this. So I've been listening to, I don't know if you're familiar with Brene Brown, but she wrote a book called Dare to Lead, and she has this wonderful podcast on leadership. And one of the things one of her guests was talking about was in terms of building teams, the importance of respect, trust, and vulnerability. And vulnerability in the sense of being able to ask questions that we may not know the answers to. And I really want this to be a space that is very safe for all of us to ask questions, because they could end up being very, very important questions, and also leading to other thoughtful discussion that can lead and ensure our success.
Go.
Do you have your hand up again, Member Roberts?
Sorry.
Are there any other comments or suggestions or any feedback on the comments that have been shared? Go ahead, Chair Member Lento.
Thank you. I have some experience putting together a county community health improvement plan, which was a very lengthy process with a lot of different parties and individuals involved. And from that experience, I learned very quickly that limiting the number of issues that are addressed at a time is very important, because it's very easy to want to tackle many at the same time, and you burn people out and you exhaust resources much more quickly. So I would recommend, just based on my experience, limiting the number of topics that we tackle at first. It doesn't mean that the other ones are not important or that they don't get addressed in the future, but just making sure that we almost, I don't want to say test out the structure on a handful of topics at first, but really just work out the kinks of how we're going to address these things that are important to all of us and to the people we're representing.
And I'm assuming that's how they do it.
Go ahead, Chair Roberts or Vice Chair Roberts.
Alicia, I have a question for you. And that is, like, I absolutely support transparency and making sure the public is aware of all the things that we're doing. But when is it appropriate, or how could we have, like, I would love to help find a professional facilitator to help us work through some of these things. And are we able to do that non-officially? Because I don't want to do anything to, go against the Open Meetings Act. Could we meet in like groups of 2 in a non-public way to meet with somebody and flesh some of these things out?
So through the chair, this is Felicia Johnson, attorney for the County Commission. So you have to be very careful. Under the Open Meetings Act, it is very clear that you cannot intentionally subdivide your membership in order to avoid having a public meeting. But what you can do is have a committee of less than a quorum, and your committees are not subject to the Open Meetings Act because they are simply making recommendations to the full board with regards to action. So could you set up a small committee of a handful of members, less than a quorum, to have a discussion? You absolutely can. What I recommend that you intentionally meet in groups of 2 or 3 without having a committee, I would caution against it.
Okay.
Thank you.
What are members' thoughts on having a professional facilitator come in? And part of where this idea comes from is before COVID, I was volunteering with the Michigan Women's Commission, and we were organizing gender equity conversations across the state. And we had some really amazing women who helped facilitate these meetings. And I think that I could reach out to a couple of them, and I think it's something they would probably be willing to do pro bono for us. But then it would be figuring out that structure, and we certainly could do it as a regular full Women's Commission meeting. We could schedule an extra meeting, or we could break it down into 2 or 3 categories and then create committees based on that. But I'd want to be cautious and mindful if somebody is volunteering their time with us, how much we would ask of them to do.
Go ahead, chairs. Go ahead, Member Stark.
I think that having someone who has experience doing that kind of work would be really a benefit, especially since we're all in agreement. I think that setting that strong foundation is critical. So if that was something that we could do, and even if we could get somebody to do that for us as a service to the commission, that would be, I would think that that would be a benefit to all of us.
Are there any other thoughts from anyone? I would like to add that this commission is, or this particular body of women, we only have 2 years, and to set up a structure that could be most viable could take us, if we really took the time to do it correctly, could take us 4 or 5 months to do it. Particularly with the list of things that we have that we kind of looking at in terms of COVID and things of that nature. So it would definitely be a fast forward and give us more time to do the work that we're seeking to accomplish and achieving while we're in office. Because definitely we would be disadvantaged unless we just want to take that on as members who are going to set the structure for teams to come in the future. But if there's experts that are willing to provide the pro bono work, certainly that could be a benefit.
We have a hand from Member Cash and then Vice Chair Roberts.
Through the chair, I agree with Vice Chair Roberts. Actually, I was a part of some of the meetings that they had in the state on women's equity. And the ladies that was there that was facilitating the meetings, they were awesome. So I think when you have professionals, they can bring out things within you that you really don't know, because they have a certain type of way of asking questions, and having small little breakout sessions can help bring things full circle. So I do agree with bringing in some professionals to facilitate. I think it's an awesome idea. That is all I have to say.
We have hands from Vice Chair Roberts and then Member Luckman, and then Member Cash, did you have your hand up again?
No, I'm gonna take it down. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Can I speak after Member Luckman?
Sure, we can go to Member Luckman first.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what Member Cash had said. I think bringing in a professional, especially since we have people that are offering to do it for free, would be great, because they could pull out, things that, like Member Cash had said, we're obviously all in this committee or on this commission for a reason, right? The people that appointed us saw something unique and significant in each one of us when we were appointed. So if we have someone that could facilitate and make the most use of our time to make sure that when we're meeting, we're a lot more efficient and more effective in our meetings, I think that would be very, very beneficial and something that we should definitely take advantage of if we can.
Vice Chair Roberts, go ahead.
Thank you. And just sort of another way to articulate this, and what I think is really important, it's like bringing in a professional to help us develop a strategic plan, right? Like, what is our roadmap and what is it that we want to do and how are we going to get there? I just think that makes it so much easier then to actually do the work. And so I commit to all of you that I will do that outreach and work with Chair Carter, and I will be calling. I actually want to do a one-on-one with each and every one of you, and talk through this, because I don't have it quite figured out in my head how to do this, but we can figure it out, and we will figure it out, and we'll do this. And I think it's really going to be a really wonderful thing for this commission, and then ultimately for the women of Wayne County.
We have a hand from Member Douglas and then Member Gator.
Thank you for the recognition, Madam Chair. I just had a question. So should we develop a committee to talk about the structure and have the facilitator come in, and then the committee can report out to the whole body about the ideas and the format and that kind of thing. So, I mean, the committee can be maybe 5 individuals or something like that, and then the facilitator can come in and then they can talk about it, and then bring the report out to the whole body and then have further discussion on that, on their findings. And then the facilitator can also be available to answer additional questions as well. It's just a thought.
I believe the
Thank you.
next hand was Member Gator.
Yes, thank you. So just wanted to speak in transparency that is in alignment with the topic. So I am a mental health professional. And so at the last meeting, I sent a chat message to everyone saying, does anyone want to start a subcommittee or do some side work as it relates to mental health and helping women get access to better mental health care? And so Member Daub and I were able to meet, and I was able to be in participation of it was a special behavioral health meeting from the county level. And so I do appreciate this discussion and conversation about subcommittees. And I just want to say that again, Member Daub and I were able to meet one time to be able to do so.
Okay, you're breaking up, Member Gator. I think we've lost you.
Oh, I'm sorry, what about now?
You're in and out still.
I'm sorry, I'll just type it in the chat just in case my reception is bad.
Go ahead, Vice Chair Roberts.
Member Douglas, I want to take a step back from making that decision today and think through this and have some conversations with members of the commission and do some outreach with the facilitator because I want everybody to be able to have a voice in this. And if we can figure out a way to do that, you know, I want to do that and take a little bit of time to think through this before making a decision on a specific action today. And to Member Gator, I think it's fantastic that members are talking with each other about issues, you know, that you're passionate about. I encourage us to call each other, to email each other, you know, to have these conversations. And in the next agenda item, in one of the recommended committees under health and healthcare, we thought that is where the mental health piece could fall in. But I didn't want to get down into the weeds on that. And I think we can figure out how we figure that into our structure and into our work.
I will add that as far as the bios and our interest that we submit within the week would also help us kind of figure out how to go and where to go based on the expertise that's in the room. Could also be an influence our next steps. So I'm happy that mental health is on the radar because it is one of our issues, but perhaps the professionals may already have their pulse on some of the things that women face and some of the things that are more or most detrimental, maybe consideration. Go ahead, Member Randall, have your hand up.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for recognizing me, Chair. I do like the idea of not securing a facilitator at this time. I do like the idea of us, if we can, talking legally, talk in small groups. I did hear some, the attorney tell us that we may not be able to do that, but because we do have such vast talent on this committee, I would like to just hear what are some of the ideas. I think we all have ideas, and to get us a facilitator and we don't really know what it is that we are trying to do or want to do, I think that it's a good idea for us to try to get ourselves more organized before bringing in a facilitator. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a hand from Member Lanto.
Member Lanto?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to take another step back and clarify the role of the facilitator, because my experience would be that it would be similar to a strategic planning session or a health improvement planning session. And that would really help us to not only identify the structure for how we want to approach the issues, but to identify the issues that we want to tackle themselves. I know that we have draft committee ideas, but the processes that I've been involved in the past have been very effective in doing some sort of ranking activity or prioritization activity to really determine what this body wants to tackle and then how we're going to tackle it. And to me, the facilitator would give us that running start into how we're going to do that and what we're going to do.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Member Randall.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. I think as an educator of 31 years, I really do understand what a facilitator is and does, since I have been one for a very long time. I still think that we need to assess some of the initial ideas and feelings of the talent that we have in front of us first. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Your point is well taken. Go ahead, Member or Vice Chair Roberts.
Thank you. Given that it's 1:45, not that we have to finish at 1 o'clock, I'm wondering if we leave this discussion open for our next meeting and have some conversations, just one-on-one, and I can just do some outreach, and then we can report back and have a little bit more detailed conversation on it with some information. And also maybe that we table item number 3 until we come back to talking about structure and organization, and just move on to the update on the bylaws review subcommittee.
One more comment. Once the bylaws have been, not the bylaws, I'm sorry, but the bios have been submitted, and any ideas that one would like to bring to the commission is something we should work on. Perhaps look where your own talent align with other women, and then come back with, well, I saw that Dr. Randall is a leader in this area, and Member Lanto that this area. Can the 3 of us work together, and can we do this? Because my expertise will complement what you have, so that we are working with the talent within the commission. And perhaps still we some of the teams may find it necessary or beneficial or helpful. I'm always willing to learn something from someone, because I'm just a life learner. So if someone else can bring something to the table because they've done it in more areas than I have, I think that accessibility could bear out to be a great benefit. And that's my conclusion there. All right, so we, Vice Chair Roberts has suggested that we kind of table 3, item number 3 on the agenda. Do we need to just say yay and nay on that, or just table it? Chair, Commissioner, Chair.
Or it would be to Gagneet.
Or Gagneet.
I believe, and Felicia or any member of Commission Council can correct me if I'm wrong, if we make a motion to table it, we're going to have to make a motion at the next meeting to reopen the discussion. Is that correct?
That is correct. So you have a few options. You could simply make a motion to take this up at the next meeting. So you won't discuss it today. You could not do anything and it could reappear, but since you haven't fully established your rules, I would just simply suggest that someone make a quick motion to move this item for discussion to the next meeting, and then Gagneet will have it on the agenda for the next meeting.
We have a hand from Member Randall.
Go ahead, Member Randall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we move item number from the agenda, the item number 3 from the agenda to discuss next week. Excuse me, at the next meeting.
Second.
Support.
All right. So at this time, can we have all the yeas?
Just
to
real
vote
quick,
yea?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but there is a motion, it has been seconded, and now people are raising their hands. So from a process, Gagny, do we have to take the vote first, or do we recognize the members with their hands raised?
So this is Felicia again. I would recommend that if the hands are for discussion of this item, that you have the discussion before you take the actual vote.
Oh, go ahead, Member Tally.
Yeah, and it is discussion. I just want to make sure I'm clear why we're tabling this today. Are we tabling it in the essence of time, or when we have the meeting next month, are we going to talk about the same thing we didn't get clear today? I just want to be clear what we got to expect for the next meeting. So are we going to be saying the same stuff again, or what's going to be different now than the next meeting? I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Okay, well, I think what we have agreed upon is to let the bios that we submit and our ideas that we may want to bring to the Women's Commission help us understand where the talent is, and maybe at that point, then review the items in number 3 that might help us focus on the items that we all agree on based on the talent that's in the room. And then from there, Sarah may come back, Member Roberts can come back with an assessment of her homework of potential people who may want to support us pro bono in helping us with the structure. I believe that some of the committees may want that support or that background or that education that may help them be a better committee.
No, thank you. That's a great, thank you. I just want to make sure I was clear. Okay, thanks so much.
We
Go
do have
ahead.
a hand. Yep, sorry.
Member
We do have a
Crawford?
hand. Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for recognizing me. Just wanted to know also, since we're going to, or there's a motion to table item 3, letters A through D, the only discussion or the recommendation that I would like to make is that for the 6 committee idea categories, if there is a description based upon each one of those leads, I guess the topic leads or committee leads, basically what would the Economic Security Committee be described as, or what will be the expectations of that committee. Same thing for housing and the rest that are listed. So we do need to at some point come up with some type of description of where and how they will roll and the expectations of the members to make sure that we are satisfying our roles as members within this body within the 2-year period.
Absolutely. That's a great point you bring out, and Vice Chair Roberts and I discussed that there could be a template of items that are that will be a part of each committee in terms of information, deliverables, actions, timelines, and so on and so forth. But these particular committees will only take teeth if we have that talent in the room. So I think the first thing is to find out what talent is in the room and talk to each other, and where you see your talent again align with others, then you come back and say, well, it's 5 of us that so far that I have a desire to work on the housing committee. I mean, particularly now with the storms that took place over the last week, I mean, that could be bigger than ever. And it could be, I know summer, as a matter of fact, I know that's your baby. So you could, probably in short order, make some things happen. And before the next meeting, perhaps Chair Roberts and I will get together and try to come up with that first draft as to what is to be done in each committee member, and just as a guide, not as the law, but this is where if you disagree, you'll have a professional in place. So I think all this is going to fall into play, but we do need to address the housing issue, like yesterday with the number of homes that were flooded out just totally, and makes for the work of this commission just more bountiful. But I think we can do it. So yes, so this is only a guide. I mean, we may look into the backgrounds of each other and find out is law enforcement and women, or we may find out it's any number of things. But many of you are multi-talented and can do several things. We know in our bylaws it already states that I think each member can only be a part of no more than 2 committees or something like that. Go ahead, Vice Chair Roberts, speak to that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Crawford, I mean, I agree with you. Whatever committees we end up deciding on, we should have descriptions for them, right? And the committees should develop what their goals and their outcomes are going to be. But before we get into all of that, that's why I think we wanting to explore potentially how we can lead in creating this, or having a facilitator come in and lead this, because as to Member Lantos' point, we might not do 6 of these because it's just simply too much for us to do as a volunteer commission. The committees may have different names. You know, we might shift this. So I don't want us to get locked into these are the 6 committees that are going to be the end all be all. They really were just a discussion starter. But I think we have some work to do before we get to making the decision of what the committees are actually going to be, if that makes sense.
Right, and these items just came out of the original idea from the commissioners.
From the ordinance.
So these are not new items, they were already there. And so we will just have to look at it, you know, based on a number of things and move forward from there. Okay, so at this point, if there's no further discussion, since the motion has been put into play and second, do we need to do that again?
Nope, I think you just need to call for the yeas and the nays.
Okay, so all those that are in favor of us moving forward and tabling item number 3, based on all.
I'm sorry, based on Felicia's recommendation, I don't think it's a formal tabling, it's just moving it to the next meeting.
Okay, well, we're voting on moving it to the next meeting. And so can we, all the A's, please let it be known that you are in favor.
Aye.
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 And those are opposed may say nay. And are there any abstentions? All right, thank you.
Motion passes. So we are moving on to item 4, update from the bylaws review subcommittee.
So we were going to have, Chair Carter, I'll just jump in here. We were going to have Member Douglas and Member Starr lead this discussion.
Go ahead, Member Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A group of us met on July 6th at about 7 p.m. and that included Commissioner Melissa Dobb, myself, Mary Starr, and Sarah Roberts, Vice Chair Sarah Roberts. The meeting began at 7 and we talked about the bylaws. And so we are introducing the following recommendations for consideration by the committee. The first one is regarding Article 3, Section 3.1, powers and duties. We wanted to add age and gender identity to the ordinance. So it would read, study, advocate, and promote issues of concern of women throughout Wayne County, including, but not limited to, age, gender, identity, employment, earnings, and economic independence. So in order to make the changes, we're bringing that forward for the amendment. The second recommendation was Article 5 regarding membership. Section 4 Article 4 regarding membership. Section 4.2, terms of office and removal in vacancies. We wanted to add, members will participate in at least 75% of all full Women's Commission meetings. The next recommendation would be for Article 5 regarding officers. Section 5.6. We wanted to remove the chairperson of the Budget and Finance Committee shall temporarily act as presiding officer if there is no chairperson of the Budget and Finance Committee. We felt that we don't have a finance or budget chair, so therefore we felt that was not necessary for these bylaws. So the section will read, in the event that neither the chairperson nor vice chairperson is able to preside over a meeting, then the Women's Commission members in attendance shall select a member to temporarily act as a presiding officer. The next recommendation is Article 7 regarding committees. Section 7.2, non-member participation we're going to remove by the Women's Commission chairperson and replace with agreement with the committee. So that is the feeling of the committee is doing the work should collectively decide who to add as advisory and non-voting members. Member Roberts, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I wanted to wait till you were finished.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that is the 4 recommendations that we are making for the amendments to the ordinance based on those items. So
amendment to the bylaws.
I'm sorry, amendment to the bylaws. So yeah, so I'm presenting that for consideration and discussion from the committee. So do I make a motion to accept, or go ahead, Member Roberts?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, just Felicia, process question. Should we address each recommendation separately, or make a movement, or we can make a motion to move them like in their entirety? And we had a question on the first recommendation in terms of powers and duties. By adding age and gender identity, that language was taken specifically from the ordinance in terms of like the sort of charge of the Wayne County Women's Commission. And so if we were to make that change in our bylaws, Commissioner Dobb, reviewed, an email that you had sent us about, some of our abilities in terms of amending the bylaws. And we might have to make a recommendation to the Wayne County Board of Commissioners to amend the ordinance in order to allow us to amend this section. So I would love to have your guidance and thoughts on all 4 of the recommendations.
Through the chair, again, this is Felicia. With regards to your first inquiry, it's really within the discretion of the chairperson with regards to how you proceed. But I would suggest that you have discussion amongst the members before you make a motion, just because the items may change and you don't want to have to go back and redo or revise your motion. With regards to the proposed revisions, so you are correct, and I did mention this to Chair Dobb, that a lot of what you have in your bylaws was taken directly from the ordinance. The ordinance that the County Commission approved sets forth the powers and duties of this body. If you're looking at item 3.1, and I don't know if it can somehow be shown on the screen, but it states that you can advocate, promote, this body will study, advocate, and promote issues of concern of women throughout Wayne County, including but not limited to. So while the Wayne County Commission did provide some guidance with regards to potential topics that this body can undertake, it did leave open the body for some discretion to add to that, because it's, again, including but not limited to. So even without making the change to 3.1, there's still room for this body to engage in other activities that are not specifically limited. We're not specifically expressed or set forth in the ordinance and the bylaws. So I believe you have discretion to add and to, in fact, address issues related to age and gender identity.
Without having to specifically amend the bylaws. And if we did want to specifically amend the bylaws, then we would have to make a motion to make a recommendation to the Wayne County Board of Commissioners to amend the ordinance. Then they would have to amend the ordinance, come back to us, and then we would be able to amend the bylaws in this section.
What I would suggest is that, because this, again, this particular item is limited and not including but not limited to, that you can add this language to your bylaws. But what I would do is add it, and I will put an asterisk to make it clear that this is information that was added. So I'll put a footnote in your bylaws when we draft it. Because again, it was not intended to be a comprehensive list that limit this body. It was just a list to get this body started. So in this instance, I think it's fine. We can amend it and change it in the bylaws, and we'll just put an asterisk note at the bottom to make sure it's clear to everyone that this is something that was added new by the board.
Member Douglas, Member Starr, is that something you'd be in agreement with?
I am, yes.
Yes, I am too.
Okay. Well, then, ultimately we'll need support from the whole body, but just since we were a part of the committee, I'm fine with that as well.
So as a matter of clarification, you mentioned that, Felicia, that you would put a star at the bottom of the bylaws. Is that like a footnote, or we still need to advocate for this change?
No, I would add it as a footnote, again, because the list is including but not limited to. You have some discretion in this particular instance. So yes, if you want to add those words to your bylaws, that's fine. We would simply put an asterisk to make clear to everyone that this is new language added per bylaw and not ordinance.
Okay, but we'll still need the support of the commission, a majority vote, to add that amendment to the bylaws.
Yes, you would need a majority vote of this body to add any change, to make any changes to your bylaws.
Okay.
So to be clear, a vote or an action of the Wayne County Commission would not be necessary in this instance.
Got it. Okay, that's good. I think that's good. Chair Carter, it's at your discretion. Do you want to take these items individually or have discussion and move them in full?
Yes, we should take them individually.
Okay.
So, Madam, did you want me to repeat the first one and go individually, and then we can discuss them as we go along?
Yes, that would be my recommendation.
Okay. So if I may, can I repeat the first one, the first recommendation?
Would you please? Thank you.
Thank you. So Article 3, the change would be in section 3.1. Oh, thank you. Section 3.1, A, powers and duties. As it reads now, it says we're going to add age and gender identity. So it would read, study, advocate, and promote issues of concern of women throughout Wayne County, including but not limited to age, gender, identity, employment, earnings, and economic independence.
Just to be clear, etc., I was the secretary, I was the note taker for this meeting, so I did not write out the full section.
Right.
So, just so everyone's clear.
Okay.
So,
do I make a?
I'll make a motion to support that change to amend our bylaws and have a footnote added.
All right, so I think we should do a roll call vote on that. Am I correct, Felicia?
Did we have support for the motion?
Support by Member Gator.
Thank you.
Okay, and if there's no further discussion, we can proceed with the vote. Madam Clerk?
And Chair Carter, you said you wanted a roll call vote for this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Member Winton?
Yes.
Member Tinsley Smith? Oh, she actually indicated in the chat that she needed to leave. Okay. Member Talley?
Yes.
Member Starr?
Yes.
Member Shield?
Yes.
Member Randall? Did we lose Member Randall? Okay. Member Luckman?
Yes.
Member Lanto?
Yes.
Member Hughes also indicated that she needed to leave. Member Gator?
Yes.
Member Douglas?
Yes.
Member Crawford?
Yes.
Member Cash?
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts?
Yes.
Chair Carter?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Right. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yep, next item.
Oh.
For amendment.
Go ahead,
So-
Member.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry.
Vice Chair Roberts, did you have a comment?
Well, I can let Member Douglas speak to this. I just wanted to provide a little bit of clarification on the next section, which was in our bylaws. It's in, and I think it's in the ordinance too. It says that as a commission, we are to meet at a minimum of 6 times per year. And I think we're in agreement, at least for a while, we're going to be meeting monthly. And so I felt it was important that we had some mechanism to say, hey, we got to participate at a certain level. And if we're not able to make that commitment to the commission, that is a means of removal. And Member Starr came up, I think, with a really good idea of making it a percentage of the number of meetings instead of like, if it's 4 out of 6 or 8 out of 12, because we never necessarily know how many meetings we're going to have in a year. And that's how we came to an agreement on a percentage. And we all felt like there was agreement around that we all have to participate at least 75% of all of the meetings, or otherwise be removed.
And is there a removal process? Is there a letter that goes out or that comes from the commissioner? How do we handle that?
So through the chair, again, this is Felicia Johnson. So with regards to removal, the ordinance that the county commission approves speaks to removal. So this body is not in the county commission itself actually does the removing. So there would be an internal process whereby the person would be notified, but that's a process that would take place on behalf of the county commission and not this body itself. But because the ordinance already speaks to reasons that an individual may be removed, and because participation at a level of 75% is not in the ordinance, it is not a requirement that you can then add to these bylaws. But what you are free to do is that if you find that there are members who are not sufficiently participating, you could then ask the Wayne County Commission at any time as a body to remove an individual in the future, or you can ask the Wayne County Commission to change the ordinance to actually include what you're seeking here with regards to 75% participation in order to remove, but removal for this reason is not something that you can actually enforce through your bylaws.
Okay. So if we were not to take action on this item, what's process?
With regards to removal?
Yeah, with this recommendation to amending the bylaws, if we said, okay, we'll leave it up to the Board of Commissioners and not take action on this? Do we have to vote it down, or do we have to vote on it?
You do not have to take a vote at all, but what you could do in the future is that if you find that for some reason, any reason that you think of, this body would like a member removed, I would suggest that the body then make a recommendation to the Wayne County Commission. The Wayne County Commission then would review that recommendation, because again, it is the Wayne County Commission that appoints, and ultimately the Wayne County Commission that has authority to remove. But this body is free to make any recommendation at any point in time to the commission for any reason you determine for the commission to review that request.
Member Douglas, Chair Carter, what do you think?
I agree.
I'm okay with that assessment based on how things currently are done within the commission. And it is their commissioner's representation that is being removed. And so to have us non-political parties to take away someone's recommendation is very a very hefty move to make. So I would think that just a communication about a concern, it can go forth, but that can go forth anyway, right?
I'm totally fine with that. Is there any member of the commission that is opposing not taking action on this? Okay, I think we can move on then.
All right, so officially that is dead in the water.
Correct. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you for your effort and having us to review that matter, a very important matter, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So go back.
We're through the chair. Thank you. Article 5, officers. So we recommended the removal of the chairperson of the Budget and Finance Committee shall temporarily act as a presiding officer if there is no chairperson of Budget and Finance Committee. So we were recommending that we add, in the event that neither the chairperson nor vice chairperson is able to preside over a meeting, then the Women's Commission members in attendance shall select a member to temporarily act as a presiding officer. And the reason that is because this commission does not have a chairperson of Budget or Finance. So again, the question is, can we replace that with what we're recommending here?
It's actually just removal of language.
Right.
Yeah. Felicia?
There is no concern or on my part, I have no comment on this. You are free to make the revision.
Okay.
Would somebody like to make a motion to support this?
I'll make a motion for support of removing the language as outlined.
I'll second. Member Shield.
Thank you. If we can do it in light of the fact that important members have left the room, I think we should do a count. We should count the votes for this item. Is that okay? We've had 5 people leave, I think. So if we can go ahead and
yes. So we do need 10 members present for a quorum and to make votes. And I believe that currently, let me see how many people are left.
Thank you.
We do have 10 at the moment, but I believe that Member Crawford has indicated that she needs to leave in 3 minutes. So
okay.
Can we just do a voice vote, or
Yes.
you really want a roll call?
I think we should do a roll call because this could be an important matter to someone and they need to know. So I would go ahead with the roll call vote.
Okay. Member Winton?
Yes.
Member Talley?
Yes.
Member Shield?
Aye.
Member Luckman?
Yes.
Member Lanto?
Yes.
Member Gator,
Yes.
Member Douglas,
Yes.
Member Crawford,
Yes.
Member Vice Chair Roberts,
Yes.
and Chair Carter.
Yes. Thank you.
And that was 10, so motion passes.
Okay,
Member Douglas, do we have another
Oh.
item?
yes, ma'am. The last item is Articles 7 for committees. And it would be to remove by the Women's Commission chairperson and replace with agreement from the committee. So collectively, again, because the committee is doing the work, it should be decided who to add as an advisory and non-voting members. So this is for the non-voting, non-member participation. So it's just to remove language and replace it with this particular language as stated. So do I make a motion here? Yeah.
Let's hear Member Crawford first, please.
I was gonna say, yes, I support, for the sake of time. Is there how many more items are requiring a vote? Because I can spare at least 5 more minutes, so 1:25, but I must leave at 1:25. So I want to be respectful of the votes in this particular meeting, since we have a quorum.
Through the chair, that was the bylaws committee last recommendation.
That is the last voting item on our agenda today,
Except adjournment.
except for adjourn, yeah. And I guess we don't need a majority on that. Okay, go ahead. Anything else, Member Crawford?
No, I was gonna say, if I can make a motion or if a motion's already been made, I support.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
If everyone just say A, does everyone agree? All in agreement, say A.
Aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? Hearing none. Madam
Motion
Clerk.
passes. Motion passes. Let me go back to
Thank
the
you.
agenda.
All right.
We are moving on to item E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the board.
No responses.
So then I think you need to just call to move on to public comment.
Okay, so we'll move to the next item. Are there any public comments at this time? You are welcome to make comment. Those that may be on the telephone or on the video Zoom call. Is there anyone with a public comment? We'd like to hear from you at this time.
And Madam Chair, I did not receive any emails.
Thank you. Well, it was clarified with Felicia, I'm not sure if she said at the last meeting or not. I've asked for public comment now twice, and it's going and gone. And at this point, we can ask for an adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn. Member Shield?
Second. Member Douglas, sorry.
Well, thank you all. You have a great, great week, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.